Let's see, it's got. Hey there! Bob from Oregon's Constant Gardener. And Scott. Welcome to the OCGFAM show to you, my YouTube buddies. What's going on?
Is that
Let me know in the comments.
level?
It doesn't seem like it's there enough,
I
does
mean,
it?
look at the framing on the picture frame.
Well, it's turned at an angle. And we're too far away. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, let's see how.
Yeah. So, we can just move over here. Oh, that's my copy. Oh, here it is. I'll turn it over. What's that video where they're doing that? It's Puffy and they're on the flight thing and they're going back and forth. It starts off he's at the golf course.
It's a commercial.
No, it's Puff Diddy, Puff Daddy, Puff. What was his name?
P. Diddy?
It was something before that.
Puff?
Puff Daddy. What's that about? Why is it Puff? What is that?
You're seriously asking the wrong human being about that.
It must be.
Put it in the comments below. For those of you who care or know.
Yeah, we can't stop. We won't stop. No, that's Miley. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
It really doesn't matter.
I feel like maybe we should start over.
I don't know.
All right.
That's,
Well,
it is what it is.
it is what it is.
I mean, that's the beauty of the OCGFAM shows. We prepare this much. We started this episode by talking about, online sales.
Those were the good times.
Yeah, no practice. Just get into it.
Corey the Bear Live. I have been wondering what Scott's recommendations for compost teas is a good question. I've been wondering this myself. So let me ask you this. Do you actually do compost teas, or do you do some kind of microbial thing?
Both.
So it's like a special occasion to do compost teas, or is it like something you do on a regular?
That's when I don't have a 70-hour-a-week job, then I do compost teas, and it's only because of the cleaning process. It's not about the brewing. The brewing's easy. It's just add this, that, the other, turn it on, wait 24 to 36 hours, and go. But cleaning is where
It's icky.
It's not icky, it's just a time consumer.
Yeah.
And in the winter, I don't have the sun, so I don't get the UVs to do all the sterilization of the container when I'm done. And
so if you were, retired, and you had all the time in the world.
I'd do a lot more compost teas.
Yeah,
I find a lot of benefit. There's, between nutrient cycling and plant health and protection and, preventing pathogens and diseases and just bad microbial outbreaks, it's great. It's an incredible product. And cheap.
So beyond using SLF 100, would you use other microbials if you were doing compost teas at your?
Well, I choose one or the other. I use all my bottled microbes like Photosynthesis Plus or any of the Microbe Life products. I've used things like Primordial Solutions products. A lot of these microbials in a bottle, they're my microbes on days I don't feel like brewing. I don't want to spend the whole process. And then Easy Teas came out where you can just add the microbes to water, mix it, and go. And I know I'm not getting the same population as I would in an aerated compost tea that I brewed. But I'm getting the spores in the root zone where they can germinate and colonize. So I find that, that's a nice, fast, simple way of doing it.
Excellent alternative.
That's a great alternative.
Yeah.
But, with everything, the more diverse you get it with beneficials, the more they're all going to kind of work together in a food web and symbiotically work with the plant to get the plant exactly what it wants. So, when people ask me about the compost teas, I keep it really simple. I followed the Kiz recipe forever. I followed, the soil soup concept and growing solutions. And it's basically, a equal parts a healthy worm casting and equal parts a healthy compost. And a produced compost, something that's not. I don't trust my personal compost. I don't trust the raccoon, the possum, and the deer that poop in there. So I don't want to brew what they've put in. I use that for more soil amendment. But for compost, let's say, booze blend or whatever.
So is Malibu compost? Or is it like
compost?
It's just compost. You could use that a lot.
Oh, and that would be and that would have more fungal bodies in it because of the wood debris and the fibers they use, and then the casting is going to get you more bacteria. putting those together and then brewing it 24 hours with a good air stone and some agitation and some molasses. And that's literally my compost teas. I keep it really simple. I can go crazy diverse by using the mammoth peas or the the megaphosses in the world and all the other powders that are specific microbes that you're trying to get in.
Yeah, that you want for certain things, like an uptake thing or situation.
Sure.
So, do you ever use any nectar products in your tea?
I don't, because we digested
Yeah.
it. We have a giant microbe. It's these vats. So when it's done, it's plant ready. So if I feed it to the microbes, it's fast food.
What are you doing? Yeah, I got
It's
you.
instant. It's gone, and then it's waste. Then the problem with microbes in a tea is as they build up and they populate from a food source, once the food source runs out, then they start turning on each other and depopulate. And so you have to keep your compost teas fed with a carbon source, and if you don't, then they become their own.
And that's the molasses.
The molasses is nice long carbon. It's freely flowing in the water. It's not binding to anything, so the microbes can break it down efficiently, completely before you go to water it in, and there's no trace of the molasses, but you have a heavy microbe field. So to me, it's it's the diversity I'm looking for, and I do like the companies like Cultured. I do like the companies like Microbe Life and them that have the ready to goes for the times I just want to hit them.
Yeah.
Get out of there and not have to clean on Tuesday.
Well, and if you're in an apartment with a little tent, you can't be doing compost.
I can't brew less than a 5-gallon bag. So unless you have friends in a front stoop that needs watering the shrubs, then the easy teas is the way to go because it's convenient, it's clean, and it's small. Yeah. If you're doing fields, then absolutely 300-gallon vats, brew your own.
Sure.
It's just more cost effective. But I thought there's a million ways to brew teas. There's tons of forums online. There's specific recipes for specific microbes, or fungal dominant versus bacterial dominant. What are you trying to do? Are you protecting? Are you nutrient cycling? Are you digesting? There's 1,000 recipes out there. I keep it really simple because I can get the rest of those recipes via, a bottled photosynthesis plus. And it's just a time thing for me.
Huh. Okay. Well, and I guess I would say if you're using Nectar, you probably are mostly relying on your bottle feeding kind of situation, that your tea is about getting microbes in there, maybe not specific microbes. Is that true to some extent?
Well, just diverse microbes. I want them all. I want some nitrogen fixing, some phosphorus digesting. I want them all working together. And basically, because anything the plant doesn't absorb from the nectar at the time of watering it in, it becomes a microbe food in the soil for the second round. So if it doesn't get absorbed through a reaction, it adheres to the cocoa or peat or whatever. Then the microbes break it down again and re-deliver it in a form that the plant can access.
So I guess what I'm just kind of thinking is that if you do a more specific tea, you're not adding, you're subtracting by making it more of a specialized kind of thing as opposed to a more diverse kind of thing, or is that?
In a sense, I mean, you're subtracting the diversity by adding a specific, but you're also putting the specific in for a reason.
Yeah.
You can go back to diversity on the next feed tea.
Okay.
So to me, it's just switch it up.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
good answer. Good answer. James Adamo. I wonder if he's related to Captain Adamo. Or is he Admiral Adamo now? Battlestar Galactica. Adama.
Oh, geez,
Adama.
Man. That's amazing that you pulled that name out of your ass. I remember Battlestar Galactica well. I just can't give you any names.
They made a new one. It was pretty good. Even the new one's old now. I think it was kind of good.
I don't think it was that good compared to like.
They were. You know what I liked about those is they had the one guy in the back that's just like, hey, fellas,
you're cool.
Well, they're like computers. What did they really need someone in charge? I mean, couldn't some computer back at base done that? But he's still there because he's like.
Well, technology back then was.
That's how you get 98% employment. You got some guy standing back behind the other two guys going, yeah. I'm considering James Adamo. I'm considering using Nectar products to nurse my struggling blueberry buds. This is a funny thing. Remember that question? Someone's like, how do I take care of my eastern blueberries? And I thought they were talking about,
A genetic?
Yeah, but it was blueberries. Blueberries. I'm going to go back to the
people
question.
grow blueberries with nectar.
But don't know how acid-loving plants interact with the product. Any input would be appreciated. I'm also considering... Oh, we'll wait on that part. So, what the heck? I'm also considering trying out Bloom Chaos, and days I do Herculean Harvest Flush. Is that No, we're backing up. Blueberries.
Wait, so did he switch from blueberries to
I believe he did
cannabis,
blueberries to
or was
cannabis.
it blueberries and then using chaos and Herculean on the same day in a blueberry?
He's not Herculean harvest flushing his blueberries. I don't. Okay, we're gonna.
He might be. I mean, clarify, and you can. It's not going to hurt anything, but it's kind of a waste to do too much of that outdoors.
So, I'm considering using Nectar products to nurse my struggling blueberry bush back to health, but don't know how acid-loving plants interact with the product. Any input would be appreciated.
Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but you hold on, because you're going to carry it on to another level.
All right.
And we're just going to keep repeating the first sentence, and then people are going to, viewership right now just went like this.
I really just use this for clips, so I don't have to create new videos. So this is.
Yeah, but this is question 2 of what, 8, 10 in there?
Yeah, it's gonna be a long haul. Blueberries.
Yeah, well, blueberries.
Now, blueberries, feel like berries and stuff might be different from my arborvitae shrubs or something like that, or my trees in the yard.
They all are different. But
yeah.
The reality is, when you mix up all of nectar, what's the first thing you need to do? Change the pH. Why? Because it's acidic.
Yeah.
Well, the blueberries love acidic soil, and the reality is, alkalinity is 7. That's your base. That's your 7.1 is alkaline, 6.9 is acidic.
Yeah.
By this standard.
Yeah.
So a 6.1, 6.0 feeding is what they really want, or 6.3 feeding, because it's still technically acidic. Blueberries love organic acids. They like humic acids, which is not a low pH.
Yeah.
Let's just name that. It likes decomposing material, which it creates an acid, and it likes that 6.0 range. So, blueberries do really well with the Herculean, the Gaia, the Athenas and Demeters for flavor, size, making solid, sturdy, longevity berries. I mean, they seem to tend to hold over very, very long time.
Structurally, they stay right longer. Okay.
Well, they don't break down so fast.
I gotcha.
So if you just stick with a real simple recipe, I keep Medusa out. They're not real big nitrogen eaters. They'll do fine with it, but Athenas will give me the nitrogen protein from the amino acids we're looking for. The Demeters is giving them that calcium. The Herculean's going to give them the flavor, the terpenes in there, and some more calcium. And just keep it at 6.0 with some Zeus. Put some Zeus in there, it's humic acid. But I've yet to find a blueberry grower that's run Nectar who's been disappointed.
So it is. What about other berries? Raspberries was
anything you want to make taste better is going to work great with just this, even just the simple program. You stick with Spartan with those 4, or throw in the Athenas and Demeters in with it, you're going to get amazing fruit.
So I'm assuming with these berries you don't feed them as much as you do other plants. I mean, you like once a week or something. Or
Well, once they start in the spring, they start to come on. Then I start feeding. Okay. And then I always top dress in the fall. Because I put 1 shot down in the fall, throw a little bit of alfalfa on there to kind of help that slow leach into the acids.
Okay.
Do all your feeding in the fall as they're going into fall for dormancy, and then as they spring out in the spring, all that new growth has the energy from the 1 shot and the feather meal and the alfalfa from the spring or the fall time. You get a better an onset of fruit, and then you hit them once a week with the simple feed, and then you'll see bigger berries. You'll see more prolific flowering, more prolific berry onset, and at the end, just way better tasting berries. But if you have a sickly one, I'd say for the first couple of weeks, just hit them with Gaia at 6.0 and just get their health back, and then start adding the Herc, the meters, Athenas, whatever you want.
Okay. So this question about the flush could be about that. We don't know. It could go either way.
Yeah, if you're flushing outdoors like that in the ground with the earth as your container, just hit them once or twice with the Herc and then just water them. But you don't really need to flush berries.
But this is about BK on a flush. I was also considering trying Bloom Chaos on days I do a Herculean harvest flush. Is that a good strategy for getting the hang of BK?
No.
Or is it only applying the flush days often enough to get the results it's meant to give? So
yeah, the preventative flush is to prevent an issue. So if you're adding a thing that could trigger an issue to a preventative thing that's supposed to prevent the issue, you may be causing problems. Herculean day only is it's a way of getting just pretty much a fresh watering with a calcium bump and to keep the salt away from the root zone. By putting chaos on the same time, it's not really a flush. You're just kind of doing a forced Herculean boost. And if your plant has any issues going on at that time, there might be something that could be, it could trigger an issue.
Okay. I have a question. So when you look at the feeding schedule, it has Aphrodite's in the flush column.
Yeah.
Is that only for your final flush? when you're doing your preventative
There's
flushes?
no point in doing it as a preventative because you're not trying to sweeten them up at that
Right,
time.
yeah.
So in the end, we're really just we're trying to make all the sugar happen at the end.
Right.
And so that's why we put it in the final flush. As a preventative, that's still a feed in some sense.
Sure,
There's
yeah,
no need
yeah.
for it. It's a waste.
So when you're doing your preventative flushes throughout and your curative flushes, it's just Herculean Harvest and then the Olympus to bring it up to the pH range.
And a lot of guys right now are telling me, hey, I feel like when I'm doing these preventative flushes, it's hurting me because my plants are on this trajectory of hunger, and I'm feed, flush, feed, tea. Well, when I do that flush, I'm missing a feed day. Is it okay to still feed? Absolutely. I mean, I just do the feed, flush to prevent an issue from coming on. But if everything is spotless and perfect and just raging, feed, tea. I mean, it doesn't matter. Just rock them and see what they can do. But but for the preventative, the whole point is don't give them a bunch of stuff to work on. Just clear out the stuff they didn't work on. And that's where that Herculean preventative flush comes in. Addition of anything else is just adding food.
Okay. Good answer.
Sure.
Good answer. Mark Maccabee. Have a question about BK. Have seen some of Nectar for the Gods Grow forums about the scariness of using it. Why?
Because of that. Because somebody went, I'm scared to use it, and then somebody perpetuated that, and then it became like a whole 30% of the crew were afraid of it.
So I guess, when you're using that, you need to back it up with the Herculean Harvest is the standard thinking of it. What happens if you don't? I mean, if you get yourself into trouble.
A lot of guys who it's genetics, it's environmental, there's 1,000 pieces to this puzzle, and the reality is there's a lot of guys that don't need the Herculean, and they've done well. Somebody did it wrong one time, cooked the crap out of everything because the plant literally starved and consumed itself. That gets posted, and then it's a fear factor.
Gotcha.
The whole world operates on fear. I mean, truly. Here, be afraid of this. Make your votes. Choose everything out of fear. Or you can kill a bunch of shit and learn how not to kill shit. Because that's how we do it. It's like, we've killed 8,000 plants to find out that if you put in 14 tablespoons of Herculean Harvest and 20 tablespoons of Chaos, you're going to kill your plant.
Yeah. But I guess, the thing is that I used to do debuffing the cars, and people would be worried about going through the paint. And with some machines, it's a real worry. With others, you could sit there all day.
Yeah.
And an example of that is that you can probably grow in one shot. You could probably put a plant in one shot.
If you had the right genetics?
Yeah.
Yes. If you had the wrong genetic? No.
So how far you can go and what you can actually do is something that you learn, and that's a lot of being a gardener.
Well, if you want success in your first run and then be bored for the rest of your life, then good luck. I mean, quit now because it's going to be boring. Yeah. But, as still to this day, Pig Farmer, when he was in that green room and said, it's a throttle.
Yeah.
You go get on your bike, and if you do this, you're going 2. If you do this, you're 65.
Yeah.
So chaos is only scary if you get on it and go 85 miles an hour out of the gate. Try going 3 miles an hour, then 5, then 7, then 10. Drops, and then build your plant up. Every plant, there's no recipe for everybody to be successful. So when you're looking at your genetics, you're looking at all the pieces to this genetic plant. They're not all the same from genetics to genetics. So you have to slowly enter in and figure out what each plant needs.
So would you say that 5 mil is not very much of Bloom Chaos? Or if
per gallon?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
I mean, you're not going to go in and to be easy on it, go 1 or 2 mil. You're going to go 5 and then see what happens.
Per gallon.
Yeah,
as a foliar feed, I'd start with 1 to 2 mils because it's so much more reactive and it's immediate. Because you're in a 32-ounce bottle, that 2 mils per gallon, or 2 mils per quart is 4 mils
equivalent to
or 8 mils per gallon.
Okay.
And so a lot of people have a problem with 5 mils per quart because it's concentrated at that point.
Oh yeah, that's but you would say that I'm just rephrasing that doing it foliar is a much quicker. And
one's nitrous and one's diesel.
Yeah.
So this one's taken forever, but it's got horsepower behind it, and it's going to ramp up, and you got longevity. You put it to the foliage, it's going nitrous.
So if you were just starting out, putting 5 mil with every feed in your root drench, and then doing 1 or 2 mil in a 32 ounce a couple times a week is not dangerous in most cases.
It should not be at all.
If it is, your genetic is so brittle that you should not be using it.
Well, then you're a professional grower, and you shouldn't be. Yeah, you should know this already by that time.
Okay.
chaos is only scary if you let it be scary.
Yeah.
That's it. It's stop watching what everybody else is. And you got to think, a lot of people have issues. Like, I'm running LEDs that put out X amount of more light than what you're used to. You put something in that makes the plant want to eat more, it can't. It'll cannibalize itself because there's not enough nutrition for it to consume. So you can be afraid, and then, I mean, living in fear is ridiculous. So play with it. Slowly add it. You got it for free, so you might as well at least start dabbling with it. You can only, if you start with 1 drop and get up to 96 drops, which is a teaspoon, figure that out. But slowly add it to find your echelon. But there's nothing really to be afraid of.
No.
You wouldn't go out and buy Botanicare Grow and put 14 ounces per gallon and feed it and go, whoa, I'm scared of that. Well, yeah, you should be, because you just poison them with too much nutrition. So just don't give them a lot. It's not scary.
That's a good answer. You're killing it today.
Well, it's scary when you see all the crap that people have done, but going slow and you won't be scared.
You know, you got hopefully 3 or 4 plants too. You know.
Well, you'd be shocked. I deal with a lot of people that just have 1 in a tent, and I'm like, man, it sucks when you have a hiccup because you have 1.
Yeah, it's like he said. You know, you should have multiple hoes, because if one hoe took sick, you would be holeless. That's what's his name, Iceberg Slim.
Yeah, I did not say that. So, just so you know, I have 1 hoe for 27 years. She's great.
Well, if you're in the hoe business.
Well, if you're in the hoe business, then that's a whole different conversation.
My wife about died. We were watching it's a documentary about pimps, and he says you should have multiple hoes, because if one took sick, you would be holeless. If you only had one.
You don't want to be holeless if you got a wide brimmed fur hat on. You need multiple hoes.
Oh. Ruin my prospects of getting any other work. This is me forever. This is what we're doing.
This and cars. Cars, they don't mind hose.
Alright.
I mean, that's a whole car show. Hose and cars.
Hose and cars. That's probably a show somewhere.
It probably is. Well, in our industry, it's hose and weed.
You know, they say sex sells, but I don't think it does.
It does for a certain type of person.
Yeah.
It doesn't sell for me. Usually, I'm like, could you get off that paint? You're offending me by sitting on that Corvette like that. It hurts my feelings.
Paint's to look at, not to touch.
Yeah. Go away.
All right, red pill or blue pill? Good question. Guessing this is obviously implied. Nope. Because it wasn't addressed. But to do the quick nature of an auto, how long does one take to break? How long does one shot take to break down? I put a half a cup in each 5-gallon pot 2 weeks after germination. It has been 45 days since germination. Do I need to add more, or will that last me a couple of months? And can you overfeed if you use too much one-shot? So
overfeed with bottles. That's what that.
That's what he's talking about. The bottles. Well, so you can't overfeed with a one-shot, right? I mean.
Well, you can if you plant it in it. It wouldn't do great. It would live, but it wouldn't be stoked. But then there's a point of a loss of return when your investment won't pay out if you put too much in. So
if you're coming from a clone and you put a clone into the dirt,
is
the one shot ready to rock right there because you got stuff in the soil, or?
Well, that's it. Is once one shot's hydrated, give it 12 to 24 hours and the breakdown period begins, because the bacteria awakens, the fungi start to germinate and attach, and then that ball of food is literally a house of nutrition for the bacteria that live on it to just consume. So once it's hydrated, 12 to 24 hours, the trace starts releasing. Within a week, you're getting a decent flow, and then it comes down to hydration.
And in theory, you've got a little tiny plant. Even if it's a clone, it's not going to need as much at the start as it does going.
Yeah, but you're also not saturating a 7-gallon pot filled with 3 pounds of one shot, because
less water. The one shot's over here is not even touched. It's the one shot that got the water on it.
And ideally, you put this in before you plant, get it mixed into the root zone. And I always go a little bit light when I transplant into a big thing, like I put in X. Get my transplant in there. Then when I go into right before a bloom stage, I'll start to top dress some more. Okay. That's giving me a fresh load of that fine powdered bone meal that we create, and then that will leach in throughout the whole cycle. Okay. 3 to 6 months. I mean, it really, like 25 pounds and 400-gallon Smart Pot will last about 3 to 4 months. So scale that all the way back, which I'm not going to try to do that math here on live TV. But if you really kind of break it down, 1 pound in a 1.5 cubic foot bag should get an auto flower that lasts, 56 days all the way through.
Okay.
If it's a hungrier genetic, then maybe 2 pounds in that, or 1 pound now and a half a pound, redistributed over the cycle of the plant's life.
Okay, here's my concern. If my plant is running out of food because I didn't get enough one-shot in there, how will I see that? And by the time I see it, will it be too late?
Well, you'll see it because if you'll be watching the growth. If things start showing on the newest growth that shows lack of nitrogen, lack of nutrition, then you can start giving them more, either top dress with more one-shot right out of the gate and hit them with Gaia once or twice, or just start supplementing with a bottle and then know that next time I need to add 30% more one-shot than I did on this round to try to get me all the way through.
So if I see evidence of starvation, I should definitely read top dress, but I may think about giving it
starvation. If you see signs of starvation, it's too late.
Done.
But
so,
if you see signs of hunger, then you can re-top dress.
But if it's getting a little out of hand, I should bottle feed or something.
It wouldn't hurt to hit them with a bottle or two just to get them back to the stage you like them in, and they can finish out with the top dress you just did.
That would be a Gaia or a Medusa kind of situation.
Depending on the stage, yeah. If you're early veg, or if you're in veg, which I don't know why you would be.
You wouldn't have it at that point. So almost certainly it'd be Gaia because you're late in the game.
Herc would always be a good one to add.
Could you just use Herc?
With Olympus up,
with
sure.
With Olympus up?
A lot of people that use all sorts of different nutrients and just use Herc.
Would you, if you were doing one shot and you were going to supplement, would Herc would be what you would supplement with?
First one would be Herc.
Yeah, okay.
Then probably Demeters, then probably Zeus.
And because you've got I guess we've covered this before too, but I was just talking with you about it. Your all-in-one is the one shot, basically.
Well, that's it. Gaia is liquid form of one shot.
Yeah.
And, by design, it's pretty close.
Okay. All right.
Just way slower.
Hetz 7. Can't
he
wait.
lives on the coast. Hetz.
Hetz?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just letting you know.
Which coast?
Our coast.
Oh!
The shop's at OCG. There's
Really?
It drives over.
Oh, wow! That's pretty cool.
Hetz.
Can't wait to try the new one-shot and number 4 soil compo. I think it's called 4-shot. Do you expect to start selling it after the new year?
Yes.
4-shot. So New Year's-ish or 420-ish?
Yeah, it's actually being registered right now, and then the artwork is being finalized for bagging, so we're hoping that we'll see some proofs on the bags this week, and then they're going to run the bags, and we're hoping to get those early January. Out of the gate at OCG and West Coast facilities that buy direct will have access to a black and white version of the bag.
Okay.
For farm sales.
Uh-huh.
But then as soon as East Coast releases us on our NPKs that we're putting on there, then we can go ahead and get the bag printed. So I'd say springtime. Nationwide will see it. Oregon will see it much sooner because it's already registered. We can just slap a little, an ingredient label on a generic bag and get 4-shot going.
Oh, no.
So the guys out on West Coast will see it before anybody else, but we're hoping that the whole country will see it in the spring.
Outstanding. Willard B. Hi, Bob. Purple pestils. Pestils?
Petioles.
Petioles? Petioles. What is that? That's part of the plant, right?
Part of the plant.
Is purple petioles a problem? And if so, what can be done to prevent and correct it? First of all, what is that?
Well, it's part of the flowering part of the plant.
It's a little pokey thing?
Yeah, and I get it all the time. Between that and stems and, all the things that turn purple, well, there's also a thing called pollen chucking and breeding.
Uh-huh.
A lot of it's been bred in. Traditionally, it was either a phosphorus toxicity or a phosphorus deficiency.
Uh-huh.
And, I got a guy right now who's finishing up that has purple stems, and from his genetic lineage, it's part of a genetic problem. And it's not a problem. Your plants are going to finish out just fine, and you're never going to taste phosphoric,
Oh, the purple
toxicity
is, yeah, okay. Uh-huh.
or deficiency. And it's a fine line. So that's the hard part is it deficient or is it toxic?
I got you. So is this purple a deficiency thing, or is this the plant trying to be more...
Depends on the genetic. Because some genetics, like true landrace, certain genetics, if they start showing purple in the stems, or in the petioles, or in the flower pieces, then something has happened. There's, something has converted the chlorophyll into this purple as a warning sign that it's deficient.
Okay.
But we've also been breeding well and poorly in the same realm that's created. I mean, well, geez, like here, stay there. This is a perfect example of like purple. So somebody bred this to be this color purple. You know?
It's purple.
Yeah, I mean, it's like black. Like in any other country, you'd be like, you know, I rehydrated this out of a mule's ass, and this is what I ended up with. But so it really, you know, if any normal,
I would call that purple nurple if I was.
This one's
maybe
called forbidden fruit.
Ah, that's nice.
Yeah, but it's, you know, if that gets crossed with another land race, and all of a sudden now we have purple petioles and purple flower parts,
and
but
it's
the rest
just what
of
it is.
Oh yeah,
it just grabbed that one thing off this one, and it's still the other. But okay.
So it's hard to say anymore. To me, it's how the plant ultimately finishes out. Did I get my yield, the terpenes, the active ingredients, and then looking at the lineage of what the genetics were to make up that genetic. So I'd say if your plants are failing, then you have a problem. If things are thriving, then it's part of the genetic code.
But either way, there's really nothing you can do about it, right?
Well, it's just refigure your entire recipe on what you're giving them, because what you're giving them is too much or too little of something, and good luck with trying to figure it out. If your shit tastes good at the end and it finished out well and the things were praying and had purple petioles, then that's what it's supposed to do. If it was doing this the whole time and it was all, you know, wanted to set itself on fire just to put itself out of its misery, then it's probably crap. There's something wrong with it.
Okay.
Not a very good answer for you. I apologize, but I get it a lot, and it's like they always turn out good.
Cool name. That's his name.
It's a cool name.
It is. There's no denying that.
None.
Subjectively a cool name. Or is that objectively?
Self-given.
Objectively a cool name. Well, it didn't quite answer my question. Maybe I missed it. I always pH adjust after adding newts. So should I pH my water to my last pH of my last feeding, then add soil to do the slurry test? He's asking if he should pH his water to...
That's a tricky question. It really is. And the reason for that is because if you have to adjust your pH of your regular water up to get it to where you would feed, then you're adding limestone in, which then now you're going to get a false reading because that limestone is going to react to the pH meter.
Right.
If your water is outside of the 6 to 7 pH range, I would be getting a distilled water, something that's a neutral water, that's going to give you a better reading. But if it's in the 6 to 7, just document your start water point.
Yeah.
Do your math. Do your slurry, and then reference whoever you're speaking with about your issue. My starting, because I get this all the time, is my starting water is 500 parts per million and a pH of 6.9. After I'm all done, it's 240 parts per million, and it's like, okay, you're starving. But I kind of look at that and just, it's not a perfect math equation saying your water starts at 6.9 and your pH of your slurry comes out to 6.3.
This interaction in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't focus on trying to get the exact pH. If you have to bring it down, then phosphoric acid, a pH down product, is going to stabilize that water far greater than putting our Olympus up in, because the Olympus up is going to continue to climb over a period of time, and as it reacts to other things, that limestone is going to keep releasing, so you'll get more of a false reading by doing a pH adjustment with your water.
So would you use Brand X pH up to bring it up?
Not necessarily, because that's usually like a potassium hydroxide or calcium, some kind of hydroxide that's going to be smashing high pH. So at that, if your water is just low in pH, I would either go get RO or,
Would you get RO or like distilled water or spring water?
I would say RO before.
Yeah, that would be your first choice because it's nothing in there.
And spring water's, the spring water here, like Mackenzie Mist water, that's an 8.3 out of the bottle. So you're not using that one.
Yeah, no.
So it just comes down to try to find a water in that 6 to 7 range.
Okay.
But I try not to adjust it too much because it's going to react. The adjustment ingredients will react to the soil.
So no, don't adjust it. But if it's so far out of range, what happens if you use the water that's out of range?
But you're just going to get a weird reading where it's like my pH is 7.3 in my slurry, even though your water started out at 8.5.
Would it be a consistently weird reading?
I would think so. If you're at 8.5, I know guys in Santa Cruz always are scratching their head because their water comes out at like 8.7 out of the tap. Which is great if you want to not have cancer, because cancer doesn't like alkalinity and if you get your water source high. That's why you look at all these new bottles of water, pH high waters.
Super high pH. Yeah.
It's to help kill cancer. Not kill cancer. That's against the law.
No.
It helps.
We're not suggesting any health benefits of any regimen.
Nothing at all.
But a Coca-Cola is what, like 2?
Yeah, and it cleans battery cables. And patches your lawn.
You know, well, I mean, let me just off on that. Aren't all drinks low pH because that's how they remain stable? I mean, cranberry juice or anything you buy. But anything you buy in a store that's a drink is probably low pH because that's how they keep it stable in the bottle, right? Yeah,
that's how they keep sugar from fermenting.
It's not like it's a conspiracy. It's how you do it if you want to make that. I mean,
maybe it's a conspiracy because they're trying to make you all diabetic fat people that are dying from the sugar intake. And you know,
not inferring any health benefits.
Well, and you know what phosphoric acid does to bones? It breaks them down.
Yeah, so that's probably not something you'd want to do.
We know for a fact it breaks shit down.
Because that's what you do.
Well, not necessarily.
For a living.
We've done it.
Okay. We're moving right on. Josh S. See, this is one of these professional questions you get from interviewers. Talk a little bit about mag-hungry plants and Epsom salts. With the line, please. I noticed phenomenal results, but wonder if it's hurting microbes like more or likely to sway my pH when adding. Thanks. So he's using Epsom salts for his mag, but he's wondering if it's killing his microbes, if it's...
It shouldn't be at all because it's magnesium sulfate is all Epsom salt is. And so it's a organic certified, it's microbe friendly. If you were just to put, Epsom salt on bacteria, it may harm a lot of them.
Sure.
But in a potting soil, at its release rate, and you're not building up the salinity of the soil, you're just releasing a magnesium salt. And they only call it a salt by definition of, it's a soluble mineral that is being released. So to me, unless you're just hammering them with magnesium sulfate or Epsom salt, I wouldn't worry about that one bit. We've done microscope tests from plants that had heavy doses of magnesium sulfate, and it doesn't seem to affect the microbial field.
Okay.
So I wouldn't worry about it too much. And what I like to do too, you can do it any way you want, top dress but putting about a tablespoon or so into a gallon of water, solubilizing over a few days, and then just using that at like 1 to 2 teaspoons up to a tablespoon as a mag supplement to your liquid line.
Would you use that over Mag Amp is the one that comes to mind. Some professional type magnesium thing.
Yeah, it's a cheaper version of it for sure. Mag Amp has all its science behind it. It's not just the simple magnesium sulfate and nanotech. There's carrying agents, there's non-plant food ingredients that they don't have to make a claim on because they don't want to make the claim on it because it's a microbe food.
Yeah.
But if you want something that's tested, tried and true, Mag Amp. If you want to just top dress, make it simple and affordable, Epsom salt. If you want to make your own version of a soluble form, soak that for a few days and then water it in. But it's not going to be as effective, but for the price, you can use more if you need to.
And it's a hobby for almost everyone.
Yeah.
So, you have some fun.
Yeah.
Make it yourself.
But you shouldn't be harming your microbes at normal doses.
Okay. Runboy7426, long-time viewer, big supporter of the show. Hey, Bob, while you're chilling in the garage, I wasn't going to put this one in. Why not pop a tent?
He does, guys. It's just he can't put that on video because that's a different channel.
Why not pop a tent and light and do a little growing? A little veggie patch with lettuce, etc. would be very cool. Maybe demonstrate what could be done with one shot in water only with number 4 soil. Keep up the good work. I want to talk to you about this. I think about putting in a greenhouse out there in my backyard. Not to grow anything, and just to chill, like kind of a tea house kind of situation. But I was thinking maybe, I should grow some stuff. I don't know what you think. Do you think there was...
Here's the expense of putting a greenhouse in just to chilling, and
that's...
Your neighbors will think you're off.
Weird. Yeah.
So you better put some food or something in that greenhouse to grow.
Well, that's what I want to ask you. So, obviously I grow some stuff. Not a ton of stuff, but I grow some things. But do you think there would be a benefit to the show, to us, to doing things? Because we've done this in the past and grown stuff, and I don't know if it's helpful over just giving people helpful tips like we do here.
There's your people to ask. Don't ask me.
Well, they like the growing thing, like maybe because.
Well, and I think the problem before you did a pepper show, and then all these hot pepper masters came into it, and were like, we're going to chew you up and spit you out because you're a novice pepper guy in the tent, and we grow the hottest things on the planet that are designed to kill people in warfare.
Well, I've tried to, throughout the years I've been with you, not learn too much because I want to... I'm trying to be learning along with them,
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
No, I mean, to me, doing a food thing in your house, because that's the other thing, is putting a tent, which you have.
Yeah, I've got a tent, I'm ready to roll.
In your house teaches the indoor cultivation. Greenhouse cultivation and indoor cultivation and outdoor cultivation are all different forms of cultivation.
So I could learn along with them about some greenhouse stuff, and you think that, or not greenhouse, but a tent. Put a tent up in the garage, and I got the tent. Okay.
I just had a customer, which I won't say his name unless he emails us later and says his name, but who's setting a bunch of auto plants that we should just throw a couple in that you can't harm.
CBD kind of stuff, hemp kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, we'll see. New Year's brings new things.
All right. Let's keep rolling. Big MCG. Big CMCG. Oh, yeah, question 1 and 4. What kind of liquid supplementing would you recommend with autos when using number 4 and one shot? Oh, we did.
Yeah, we
did a
put
show
that
about
together.
this.
We just asked that question. Well, almost.
Well, I did a show about it, and maybe we can elaborate on it because I was thinking, the next thing you'd add would be the Medusa or the Gaia, and you're like, no, that's what they are. You would go with Herc. Because that's the obvious thing, and then maybe some Demeters, and then some.
And depending what you're going for, Aphrodite. I mean, any of them really. You just don't need to go pro.
Yeah. So I guess what I wanted a couple of questions is just to reiterate on that, but also how does Athenas fit into this whole scenario?
They're amino acids, so anytime you want to build cells, amino acids are the way to go.
So then why wouldn't you add that instead of the Demeters or the Afro? Is your first line of thing?
Well, Afro would be the last out of those 3.
Okay.
Well, just because that's flavor enhancement, terpene profiles, But Athena's is all the building blocks of every cell's an amino acid and calcium. So Demeter's calcium, Athena's amino, Herc is your phosphorus and calcium.
And so you give it that calcium for that Athena's to have something to work with?
Well, autos are fast-growing plants trying to produce a lot. So if you're not giving them the nutrition and the tools to build the big, strong cells to make that plant produce, then you just end up with auto plants that are larvae and loose and light.
So I guess what a lot of people want to do is start out or in situations is they want to do a water-only kind of thing with some one-shot, but next time around they would like to play with it a little bit.
Enhance it, because they were not blown away with the ultimate yield and flavor. So, it did well, but it wasn't awesome.
Yeah, so to that end, what would you be doing some Herc once a week just to get started? Or what would you do if you'd gone water-only last time and it was good, but not great, and you want to go...
I'd focus on the calcium products.
Okay.
Yeah, more Herc, Afro, Demeters, possibly Tritons, depending on the genetics. Always Olympus up. So getting those in first, and then adding in the more base nutrients like aminos and Gaia.
What about Zeus? Would that fit into...
That would fit in just by itself as a humic substance to water in all the time.
So if you were doing just the Herc, would you feel like you really needed the Zeus, or would you?
No, because if you're in a good potting soil, you have humic acid in there.
And they're already.
The humics are being formed by microbes, so that it's not a dire, but it definitely helps stimulate and produce.
Okay.
Yeah, it really it's tough. It's there's 1,000 different recipes there.
But Herc is where you'd start, and you gotta have some Olympus too.
Anything calcium would be a good start.
Okay, so if you did Demeters, would you still have to do Olympus, or is it just the Herc was really?
Well, if your pH drops,
yeah. If anything other than Medusa or Gaia, you should look at your pH when you're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Runboy7426 back again. Hey Bob, I'm not sure if you and Scott have discussed this, and I missed it, but do you guys have any tips for watering when using Nectar? That is, should pots be kept moist, allowed to dry between waterings? I know on synthetic watering, frequency and strategy can play a huge role in how the plant accesses the nutrient solution. Are blue mats good match with number 4, heavily amended with one shot and a true set it and forget it type to grow? Keep up the good work. So first of all, let's talk about the watering and then talk about the
watering style. Again, I'm almost nearly impossible training seminar because it's Some people are heavy-handed, some people are light-handed, some people like to water to run off every single time. I personally like to do less volume more often.
Would you ever let it dry out?
No, dry, like air dry, bone dry?
Yeah.
No, because then soil becomes hydrophobic. And when soil becomes hydrophobic, then you end up with dry pockets, then you get irregular root growth. And then you're only utilizing, let's say 60% of the soil, 40% is so hydrophobic the roots won't even grow into it anymore, which then ultimately will, deplete your yield because your root mass isn't huge.
So anywhere between slightly moist and not a swamp is human opinion.
Wet feed is bad and dry is bad. So I like to go to the 15 to 20% moisture content, like basically a brand new fresh bag of number 4.
Okay,
If it feels like that, then you are at the dry side. That you need to water.
That's a rule of thumb. That's very helpful to me.
If you can squeeze it and water comes out, you're doomed.
You're doomed.
Yeah.
But you don't want, you want like, it gets
Moist.
like light brown kind of thing. Like, oh, this is drying up. No, they're
when
not.
It's light tan, then you've gone too dry, and it's hydrophobic. That's when Hygeia becomes your best friend, because we're going to rehydrate this way rather than race water right past the dry pocket. So, and then I just learned from one of my favorite customers, because he goes from 7s, so he veggies in 1s at week 5, then he goes into 7s for 5 weeks, which is insane, but he does well.
Yeah.
Then he goes from 7s to 20. It's a 13-gallon jump. And traditionally, and this is one of those days where you learn something new every day, and then you see how they produce, and you're like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But what he was telling me is when he goes from the 7 to 20, he's got 13 gallons of soil. And I always tell people, water that 7 still.
Sure.
But when he's transitioning to flower, he goes, the problem is I'm watering that 7, trying to encourage my root system, and I can't feed him enough. So they're slowly growing, but they never grow out. So what he does is he makes a double batch of fertilizer, double strength. Then he waters the outside ring.
Yeah.
Wet.
Wet.
Because he's in a 7 with a
there's no
very well established root mass.
Yeah.
That's loosened and massaged, so it's in there ready to go.
Ready to rock.
But if he just waters every 3rd day, he's only getting in 2 or 3 feedings in a 10-day period.
Yeah.
And they're milder because they're not saturating. So he double strengths the food. He waters it out here where it's safe because there's no root system.
Sure.
As it's drying up and the roots are chasing, they're eating all this available nutrition that's out in this outer ring. So he doesn't need to water for 10 days after transitioning into the 20s. But they're fed. So on the 10th day, they're praying, they're rocking, they've grown 2 inches, and they're ready to be fed every other day. I was like, wow, that is... So my next round, I'm going to play with that concept to see if that is, but... I was shocked. And he does just fine, so we all know who that farmer is.
Nice.
And then the blue mat with 4, let's say number 4 with 1 shot heavily amended. I've seen blue mats work really good. It's dialing them in. It's getting them so they get a good saturation rate without oversaturating. You're never going to get... And I won't say never, but it's rare you're going to really out-yield a hand-fed or, a controlled feeding situation. But for somebody who's in a wheelchair, somebody who goes on vacations often, sales guys who are on the road 4 times a week, they're great solutions to hydration, keeping the perfect moisture content for the root zone, and buys you, X amount of time to keep things alive while you're gone. So they're great tools. But it's hard to push with them. It's hard to advance the flowering side. It's hard to make things bigger, better, and greater because you have no control on the push.
Yeah.
You're letting moisture and soil pressure dictate how much hydration they get.
So, but if you were going to do that with just a 1 shot, is that how you would...
Yeah, you'd build a heavily amended soil.
Yeah.
And then just add the water and the microbes will do the rest.
And would that be just 1 shot? Was there anything else you'd want to put in there?
Well, it depends on...
No.
For all extensive purposes, no, that's all.
Yeah. And so if you did that, do you think you'd have to top dress or re-amend several times, or you don't know?
Yeah, if you put in 1 tablespoon for 20 gallons, absolutely we'll need 4 more pounds before the end. If you put 4 more pounds into a 1-gallon pot, you'll never feed them again.
No.
So that's...
You would overfeed if you were going to... There wouldn't be a disadvantage to overfeeding in that scenario, and then just letting the thing go.
Yeah.
And see what you get.
And then dial it in for you.
Nice. What's this?
Was that the last of the questions?
Yeah.
So then, I just wanted to...
Yeah.
Because we just got back from Vegas.
Uh-huh.
From
Yeah, how was
MJ
that?
BizCon
MJ
show.
BizCon, yeah.
It was insane. Yeah, it was an eye-opening experience on where the industry's been and where it's going.
Yeah.
And the resistance of those who aren't willing to go there. It was pretty shocking. There's no more. The Grow Bros are gone and the Chads have arrived. So lots of suits, lots of frat boys, lots of money.
Investors.
And lots of investors, a lot of pie charts, a lot of graphs, and nobody really is talking about the love of the plant or, And then when you do get the grower that comes through, and I met a lot of great growers at this event, a lot of guys from Oklahoma, Missouri, Michigan, they're coming in and, they're the growers. They're the ones that want to produce what they want to produce, and it's just was really interesting to see a money man with his kid talking with a grower to the fertigation people and just shaking your head at, we need to see pricing, we need to see the profit margin, we need to see the turn rates, and then the grower's just talking about microbes, fungal bodies, soil,
Disconnect here?
It was so much disconnect, it was painful. And then to top it off, so we had 2 of the 3 convention centers in Vegas for cannabis, for MJ BizCon, and the third one was Cowboy Christmas. So it was all cowboys buying cowboy hats and saddles and gear and tech. And,
that's funny.
riding in on the monorail every morning to the show, and you're sitting across, these 5 guys that are running cattle from Mexico over there. Yeah, we don't want the wall because then we can't run our cattle. Because they're taking cattle over from... I was like...
Oh, that's funny. You don't know until you get into someone's business what's really going on.
Incredible. And it was just an incredible group of people. Those Cowboys, those Texans, man. I'll tell you what, there's some good old Texans. I'm impressed by them. I'm blown away with their work ethic. It
is a whole different country.
It's a real country.
Yeah.
There's no... I would like to take half the West Coast, stick them out on a ranch for a fucking weekend. Excuse the language, but that should be a movie.
Yeah.
Because, I think it is. It's a few movies made like that. What was that?
What was it called? It had Billy Crystal in it.
The Billy Crystal one is what I was thinking of. What was that? The Dude Ranch one?
Yeah, I can't think of it.
They made a couple.
Oh, yeah, they did sequels to it. It had Palance. Jack Palance was the cowboy guy.
Yeah.
He died. He ate bacon for every meal. He had a heart attack.
So the MJ BizCon was pretty crazy. Then I got a couple emails this last couple weeks. One was...
Yeah.
Give me that. Let's see. Space Drews said I'm supposed to give you a... Space Drews reached out. He's from Cincinnati. He used to shop at Cincinnati Hydroponics, which was just purchased by a company called the Bubbling Bucket. They got a store in Cincinnati and Blue Ash, Ohio. Very passionate owners, very passionate store. Adopted a whole Nectar, display. Doesn't really know about it. Space Drews has been in there kind of educating, so we appreciate you and thank you for your effort. And, a shout out to John from the store, new to us as far as... which I'll have to go in there and find Cincinnati Hydro, get rid of them, bring in the Bubbly Bucket, and I got their store info. But we'll get you guys a sample palette for the folks in Cincinnati. If you're in Cincinnati, these guys have the full line. Space Drews went in there to find some number 4. The guy says we don't have it. We don't really know anything about it, so he sold it to him. Again, thank you, bro.
Very cool.
But Cincinnati, you have a good store in town. You should go check them out. Say hi to John from the Bearded People and. We'll see what that's all about, but we'll get them some samples in the new year to get them more info. And then Grow Ninja, Grow Ninja.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
He just had written an email to us, and I just, I got back from Vegas, and, you pull your hair out. There's days where you just, why do we do what we do? And then there's days when you're like, this is why I do what I do.
Yeah.
And this email just came through, and I just loved it because it's kind of what's been, sounding out this whole fall for us, and it's the people loving what they do, love the turnout of what they've grown, the pride that they show in what they've done and what they've created.
Yeah.
And so when you get emails like this, and this is from a customer of ours, Grow Ninja, it says, Scott, sorry to bother you during the craziest time of year. Yeah, if only you knew. Actually, we've been really busy still. Anyway. But I had to write you to thank you for what you've done for my crop. I'm getting big scale breeders hitting me up on social media to rep all their genetics, and I'm getting free seeds from all of them. I'm pressing purple effing blackberry jam rosin from my fresh flowers. My terps are so insane. I've had to revamp my entire ventilation system just because the smell started getting out. Your products have taken my products to the next level, and I just wanted to reach out to you and say thank you for your products. Thank you for the concern for the environment and making that a priority to your company. For the YouTube videos that you and Bob make, and for one-on-one support that you provide, you're top-notch, my friend. So, Merry Christmas. We thank you guys. I could read 100 emails today from this last couple weeks. That's what makes us do what we do. We don't do this. None of us are rich. We still drive the same trucks we did when we started this company. This isn't about, how do we make all the money, but when we see the community that comes together via this line, via what this show's done, it's really about what you guys bring to the show, and what you bring to us is these great questions that gives us the platform to talk. I mean, we're idiots. We sit here and shit on each other all day long, and at the end of the day, we get to have fun doing it, and we're finding that it benefits other people. So, thank you guys for the support over the years. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all of you. We're going to get to the next level next year. We're consolidating some things on the retail level. We're really going to start focusing on the national branding with you guys, the people who watch our show. Kind of keep your eyes out for some neat, fun, just neat concepts we're going to come up with. Bob's, crunching his brain. He's fighting the evils that be at OCGFAM. You guys don't realize the amount of work this poor man has to go through to fight uphill to get what he wants to get to you guys. But Bob keeps pushing. So we love what he's done for us, and we thank him for putting up with us. I am not a nice boss. We are good friends, but he's my whipping post. So when all my day goes bad and Bob walks through the door, the first thing he does is takes the lashes and then laughs about it. So I appreciate you, Bob. I really do. You're a fucking brother to me. You're a good bro. You'll always be in my heart, bro. So that's our year. We'll see you next year. I'm not doing any more shows this year. I'm going to kind of take a hiatus with the family and kind of do a couple hours here and there, answer some emails, but we're not doing any more shows till the 2020. He'll be doing some shit because we still pay him, but at the end of the year, this is it for me.
I still got it.
So, and we have a whole bunch of questions that came through that Bob wanted to send, but those are going to be focused on early January. We just can't get to them all. So, I think we did it.
We did it. This was awesome. I'm hugging you. I really appreciate you too. This has been a great thing for me. Put me in a good spot. So that's the show. The OCGFAM show. It's pretty good. It happens every day. It's the OCGFAM show. See you tomorrow. Oh yeah. Merry Christmas.